I'm Marion. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed, holding a digital recorder in my hands. The room is deathly quiet, and the only sound I can hear is my own ragged breathing. Just a few moments ago, I played a recording that shattered my world. The voice on the tape, a voice I've known for 16 years, was saying things that made my blood run cold. As I sit here, I'm transported back to this afternoon. I was in the kitchen when my phone rang. It was Leo. His voice was flat, drained of all emotion. He told me that a meeting he'd flown across the country for had fallen through. He was on his way home, and he asked me to make a nice dinner and clean up a bit. I could tell he was exhausted, not just physically, but emotionally. After hanging up, I decided to start cleaning. I've always loved the physical act of cleaning. It's a way to bring order to chaos, and there's something deeply satisfying about it. I worked my way through the apartment, starting in the kitchen, and moving into the hallway and living room. I found all sorts of things: a pair of mismatched socks, a frayed phone charger, and a library book that had been renewed twice. When I reached the bedroom, I saved it for last. It's the room I'm most particular about, the one that feels truly ours. I changed the sheets and straightened the things on Leo's nightstand. As I was mopping the floor, I pushed the mop head under the bed, and something shifted. I bent down and saw a small, black digital recorder. I picked it up, my heart pounding in my chest. I knew what it was. Leo had finally done it. After 15 years of threatening to record me snoring, he'd actually gone out and bought a recorder and hidden it under our bed. I found the rewind button and pressed play. Sure enough, there was my voice, soft and rhythmic, snoring. I sat down on the edge of the bed, my face in my hands. I'd been so sure I didn't snore, but here was the proof. But then, out of curiosity, I rewound the tape a little further. And that's when everything changed. I heard a man's voice, Leo's voice, speaking to a woman. He was telling her that he loved her, that he was going to marry her, and that they just had to wait until he had what he needed, and then they'd leave. The woman's voice was faint, but I could tell she was asking for reassurance. I felt like the ground had been pulled out from under me. I sat there, frozen, listening to the recording over and over again. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. How could Leo do this to me? How could he lie to me for so long? I heard the front door open, and Leo's voice calling out. He came into the living room and stopped when he saw me sitting there, the recorder on the end table beside me. His expression changed, going from surprise to uncertainty to something I couldn't quite read. "Hey," he said, crouching down in front of me. "What's wrong? Did something happen?" I picked up the recorder and set it on the coffee table between us. "I listened to it," I said, my voice cold and steady. I listened past the snoring. Leo's face went pale. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice barely above a whisper. I took a deep breath. "There's a conversation on there. A man and a woman. He calls her Lily. He tells her he loves her, that he's going to marry her, and that they're going to leave." Leo was very still. "You're a stranger to me," I said. "I know that sounds crazy, but that's what it feels like. Like I've been living with someone I don't actually know." "Marion," he said, reaching out to me. "Don't," I said, pulling away. "Just don't." I played the recording for him, and he listened, his head bowed. When it was over, he sat there for a long time, saying nothing. Then he stood up and picked up the recorder. "I need to go," he said. "I'll be back, and I'll explain everything. I promise." And then he was gone. I sat there, alone in the apartment, feeling numb. I didn't know what to think, what to feel. All I knew was that my world had been turned upside down. As I sit here, waiting for Leo to come back, I can't help but think about our life together. We've been married for 15 years, and we have two wonderful sons, Ethan and Lucas. Ethan is 20 and home for the semester, and Lucas is 16 and going through that awkward teenage phase. I grew up in a small town in the Midwest. My parents were hardworking people, but money was always tight. My father was a construction worker, and he worked long hours to support our family. My mother worked as a cleaner, and she taught me the value of hard work and perseverance. I met Leo when I was in college. He was from a wealthy family, and he had a confidence and charm that drew me to him. At first, I was hesitant. I didn't trust people from his background, and I was afraid that he was just looking for a fling. But Leo was different. He was kind, honest, and patient. He waited for me to open up, and he never pressured me. We got married a few years later, and it was the happiest day of my life. We bought a beautiful house in the suburbs, and we started a family. Leo was a great father, and he was always there for our sons. We had a good life, a happy life. But in the past year, things have changed. Leo's business has been struggling. He's lost several big contracts, and he's been under a lot of stress. He's been working long hours, and he's been coming home late and exhausted. I've tried to be supportive, but I can tell that he's not the same man he used to be. I remember the first time I noticed something was wrong. It was a few months ago, and Leo had come home from work in a foul mood. He snapped at Ethan over something small, and the look on his face was terrifying. He apologized later, but I could tell that something was eating away at him. Then, a few weeks ago, he mentioned Lily for the first time. He said that she was a colleague at work and that she'd been helping him with the project. He seemed to have a lot of respect for her, and he talked about her a lot. I didn't think much of it at the time, but now I realize that there was more to it than I thought. As I sit here, waiting for Leo to come back, I'm trying to make sense of everything. I don't know what to believe, what to think. All I know is that I love him, and I want our marriage to work. Finally, I hear the key in the lock and Leo comes in. He looks exhausted, but there's a determination in his eyes. He sits down on the couch across from me and takes a deep breath. I talked to Lily, he says. She confirmed everything. It's not what you think. I look at him, my heart pounding. Then what is it? I ask. He takes a deep breath. I have a brother, he says. His name is Max. He was my parents' first child, but he and my parents had a falling out years ago. He felt like he'd been cheated out of his inheritance, and he was angry. He started working for a competitor, and he was feeding them proprietary information about our company. I listen, my mind racing. What does Lily have to do with this? I ask. Leo takes a deep breath. Max found Lily a few months ago. He pretended to be interested in her, and he convinced her to help him get access to our company's files. She didn't know what she was getting into at first, but then she realized what he was doing. She made a recording of one of their conversations, and she left it on her desk. I grabbed it by mistake on my way out of the office one morning, thinking it was the company's shared dictation device. I look at him, trying to process what he's saying. So, the voice on the recording. It wasn't you, I ask. Leo shakes his head. No, he says. It was Max. He was trying to convince Lily to keep helping him, and he was promising her that they'd be together once he had what he needed. I sit there, stunned. I don't know what to think. On the one hand, I'm relieved that Leo isn't having an affair. On the other hand, I'm angry that he didn't tell me about his brother and what was going on at work. I'm sorry, Leo says. I should have told you. I didn't want to worry you. I look at him, my eyes filled with tears. You should have trusted me, I say. We're in this together. Leo nods. I know, he says. I was wrong. I won't make that mistake again. We sit there for a while, not saying anything. Then Leo reaches out and takes my hand. I love you, he says. I don't know what I'd do without you. I look at him, a small smile on my face. I love you too, I say. We'll get through this. As we sit there, holding hands, I realize that our marriage is stronger than I thought. We've been through a lot, but we've always come out stronger on the other side. And I know that as long as we have each other, we can face anything.